Hi, and welcome to the second video in our Practice Acceleration Formula training series. My name is Kevin Doherty, and I'm really excited to be here with you today because we have yet another very important subject at hand, which is client retention. So this video is going to go into some detail on the philosophy and the tactics you want to implement into your practice in order to enhance client retention. Very important subject that often gets overlooked, and really excited to present this to you today. So if you haven't had a chance to watch the first training video in this series, please do that now and come back to this video because this video will definitely build on that first video. That first video is all about marketing and giving you a clear overview of the best way to market your private practice in 2015 so you can make it a breakout year. Now, we know that the practice acceleration formula is much more than just marketing and getting people in the door, right? Like there are different components of this formula that we want to make sure are in place. And all that we really need to do is nudge up our performance level just a notch in each of these critical areas in order to see dramatic results. Client retention is one of these pivotal areas that so many practitioners were just never trained on the right way to educate, interact with their clients, and really establish a genuine long-term therapeutic relationship with them. So this video will give you a great overview of that. Let's go ahead and dive in. Now I'm going to preface what I'm going to say here by letting you know that some of what I'm going to recommend and suggest to you is probably going to push your buttons a little bit. It's going to be a little bit controversial depending on your style of care. And quite honestly, this video may not be for everyone. I definitely have my own kind of philosophy that I derived from my own practice and seeing what really worked for patients and giving them the highest level of service that I possibly could. So you may or may not kind of philosophically agree with that. Either way is fine. And if this video is not for you, absolutely no problem. I know that my clients are coming at practice management and client retention from a very specific place. So philosophically, this may or may not resonate with you, and that's okay. So let's move forward. But regardless of where you're kind of coming from philosophically, I want you to know that client or patient retention is an absolutely crucial topic for your practice success. It is one that tends to provoke some discomfort for a lot of us because I think there are some ethical issues about this out there and some concerns about doing this in a way that has true integrity. So I'm definitely going to come at it from that angle today. But here's the truth. If you have poor retention in your practice, your stress level is going to be high because you'll always need to bring in a high volume of new clients to your practice. And what that means is that your front-end marketing has to be outstanding to overcome this issue. So you really need to embrace and put into motion the principles that I discussed in the first video on marketing your practice. Now, what I see time and again is that many practitioners are struggling because they really don't have very good front-end marketing, and they also have pretty poor client retention. And that's honestly just a recipe for disaster in your business. If you're not retaining your clients effectively and you don't really know how to get a high volume of new people in the door consistently, that's a recipe for stress, financial struggle, and a lot of things you just want to avoid in your practice. Now, many practitioners shy away from this topic of client retention for two reasons. The first is the one that I really want to focus on in this video today. They don't want to sell their clients unnecessary care. Now, I think that's an absolutely legitimate concern. And what we don't want is for you to instill fear in your clients or coerce them into care plans that they really don't need. That's more to your benefit financially than to theirs. So, we hear a lot of horror stories about this of clients being sold, $5,000 to $10,000 care packages that go on for 6 to 12 months. And it's debatable whether or not the client actually needs that level of care and to invest that level of expense into the care. Sometimes that's absolutely warranted, and I'll give you a sense of kind of my philosophy on that throughout this video. But what I've seen a lot is that various marketing and practice management consultants really embrace this kind of aggressive, salesy model to their clients, and unfortunately, a lot of it tends to be quite fear-based. Let me know in the comment field below if you've run into that, if you've been up against that in your own practice, if that's been a challenge for you, just knowing how to do this in a way that feels genuine and sincere for you and your client. Now, the second issue that causes us to shy away from this is that a lot of practitioners just don't even really think of it this way. They actually want to get their people out the door as fast as possible because they think that that's what's going to lead to the most word of mouth and referrals. So if they can get people out of pain within a session or two, that person's going to be wowed by that experience, and they're of course going to tell everybody they know. Now, if that's your style of practice, that's fantastic, and I definitely think you're onto something there if that works for you. For a lot of my clients, though, that's not really the model that they're looking for. They actually would love to have long-term therapeutic relationships with their clients that are basically like kind of gradually peeling off layers of imbalance and holding patterns and just dysfunction, neurosis over time. And what I've seen in my practice is it actually takes several sessions for the average person to feel safe and to build that rapport where you get into that more vulnerable space with them where true transformation and healing can occur. So the issue that I tend to have with the rapid kind of progress model where they're out the door in a session or two is that I think it can easily set the stage for those same problems to recur in their life, because how much root kind of transformation can you offer somebody within an hour of your time? If you're a miracle worker, you might be able to do that. But in my experience, most human beings need to have a consistent, gradual process that they go through to lower their defense mechanisms, to penetrate their ego devices, and to really get into a space that allows them to heal in a vulnerable and powerful way. And I've seen that time and again with many of the practitioners who are my clients. They would love to have more long-term client relationships. They just don't really know how to do that in a way that feels ethical and has integrity. So if you're in the second category right now, you might just want to actually walk away from this video. This might not be philosophically all that helpful for you if the model that you're currently using is working for you of just symptomatic care and you get people out the door fast. I have nothing against that. It's just that what I'm about to share here probably isn't really going to resonate that much for you, okay? So assuming that you're still here because you want to learn more about this, let's keep moving forward. The problem is that most practitioners greatly undersell their services. They don't educate their clients on the full potential that their modalities can offer. And they get stuck in a pattern of micro-focusing on symptom annihilation, and they buy into the belief that the client is only there to improve their top-of-mind issue. And the problem with this is that whether the client sees improvement or not, they're typically out the door in 3 or 4 sessions. So if they come in with back pain or headaches or anxiety or whatever it is, if they're getting better and they're seeing improvement, oftentimes they'll think like, okay, this worked pretty well. That's all I need to do, and I'll call you if I need you, and you never hear from them again. Likewise, if they don't get better, they're going to say, well, this doesn't work. This modality's a scam or a sham, or it just doesn't work for me or whatever. And they're out the door in a couple sessions as well. So either way, it's really not that advantageous for you as the practitioner to have clients come in for only 3 to 4 sessions. And that honestly is a very typical window that I see many practitioners have with their clients. What we want to do is, regardless of your modality, bump that up significantly and do it in a way that's genuine. For a lot of my clients, we can get them easily up to 8 to 10, 12 sessions per client, which significantly increases the lifetime client value, which decreases their stress and there's tension around bringing so many new clients in the door. If you can stabilize your practice with greater retention, even 10% above what you're doing now, that will allow you to breathe a little better. It'll give you more peace of mind, and you'll just have more composure in the work that you're doing. And there are other benefits too. You're going to have more fulfillment. You're going to be able to take people through a deeper level of treatment and care. Lots of benefits to this model. So if you focus too heavily on what's wrong with your clients, you're showing them that your modalities are only capable of helping their top-of-mind symptoms. So if the client comes in and they say, I have back pain, and you spend the next 20, 30 minutes analyzing their back pain and going through 1,000,001 questions about where it is, how bad it is, how long it's been there, and you really elaborate on that, and it feels like you're kind of attached to that, then the client is going to get attached to that, and they're going to assume they're only there to get their back pain to go away, okay? So the client in this context will basically treat you like a mechanic who is there to fix their pain so they can get on with their life as fast as possible. Now, this is an extremely common pattern, and it's actually a major cause of not only poor client retention, but also burnout and a lack of fulfillment, because a lot of us are trained in our schools to heavily identify with the patient's pain and pathology, and they come in with this chief complaint, and then it's our job to just go deeply into that and figure out all of the details of why it's there, its etiology, what makes it better, what makes it worse. And what happens is the client solidifies around that pathology even more than when they came in, and the whole process becomes about their pain. Now, I think a truly holistic paradigm is one where we are always connected with the client's essential nature, which is beyond their pain, it's beyond their symptoms, it's beyond their conditions of their life. And that's our job as a practitioner, I think, is to maintain contact with that so we're constantly reinforcing that back to our clients as well. Not just what's wrong with them, but constantly reinforcing what's right with them, what's already whole about them, because that's really the kind of source of healing that they can draw from through the treatment process. Now, I believe you're actually doing your clients a disservice if your sole focus is removing their pain without showing them the deeper potential of your work. There's nothing at all wrong with trying to help their symptoms. We all need to do that on some level. But what happens too often is that that's all we end up doing, is we give so much focus to that we lose some of the broader, the deeper perspective of why the client is probably there in the first place. So what does this really mean? Well, it's really the difference between core desires and surface desires. That's really the easiest way to clarify what this issue is and how to improve your client retention, okay? So most clients come to you with what I call surface desires, and that's to get out of pain, to become more comfortable and more functional in their life. I would say 90 to 95% of our clients have a surface desire that's top of mind, that is agitating them, that they want relief from. That's why they're willing to invest in your services, right? Now, a lot of the time, they aren't even focused on or even aware of their core desires. They've either lost track of that completely, or it's suppressed. It's not really a top of mind issue that they are thinking to themselves, this is why I'm coming to see this person. Sometimes they absolutely do, and we always tend to love those clients that are deeply connected with themselves and they know their core desires and they want help on that level. That immediately leads to a more spacious, open-ended treatment process where, it's more like peeling off layers of an onion. It's going to be a transformational process that isn't so based on outcomes or results, right? So your job is to help the client get in touch with their core desires and then educate them on how you can help them to actualize these deeper desires. Now, on the front end of your marketing, and this is something we really didn't talk about in the last video because we didn't have time, honestly, and it's a big conversation in terms of how you set this up. It tends to be a pretty personal, customized thing that you want to set up, and I'm definitely happy to help you with this. But on the front end of your marketing, you absolutely need to touch on their surface desires. You need to show them very clearly that you can help them with whatever their top of mind problem is. But you also want to plant the seed in your marketing for helping them with their core desires and start the educational process of what that looks like and what it means to go beyond symptomatic care for this person. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit more depth here in a minute. So for you as the practitioner, this is what ultimately leads to greater client retention, more fulfillment in your work, and even more referrals. Because if you start helping people on a deeper, more powerful level, they're going to be pretty inspired by that. They're going to be pretty wowed by that. And they're naturally going to want to tell people they know who are struggling with some of those deeper core desires in their own lives. So let's make this really practical and simple. What are some examples of surface desires? We're probably all pretty aware of this. These are kind of top of mind surface issues that clients tend to come to us with. I want my wrist pain to go away, right? So the client comes in, they call you on the phone and they say, I have wrist pain. It's been there for 5 weeks. I just want it to go away. That's really common. So it's pain annihilation. The client is calling us to make their pain go away. I'm so sick of my anxiety. Please do something to make it stop. So once again, they have this discomfort, this imbalance. They're looking to you to make it go away. I'm too busy to change my lifestyle. Can't you just do something to help me lose this weight? So they're transferring their own sense of power and responsibility onto you and saying, can't you take care of this problem for me? So those are great examples of service desires. We have probably millions of them, but it really looks something like this, right? It's the immediate relief of pain or discomfort that is their top of mind problem. So if clients are attached to their surface desires, it's important to understand that this is often a major obstacle to lasting healing and transformation. Yes, you can reduce their pain, but it will often come back because they haven't learned the deeper lesson of why they are in pain in the first place. And in my experience, having treated thousands of patients in my own private practice, what I've come to realize is that pain is never random. The body is always trying to teach us something. It's always a signal to some deeper level of wisdom that we can glean from that. And if we just try to annihilate that pain, oftentimes we're doing the client a disservice because that pain is trying to tell them something. It's trying to wake them up to something in their life that needs to be shifted, right? And what that's really doing is pointing them to what their deeper core desires are. It's getting them more in touch with that so they can start making some foundational lifestyle changes that will put them in the right place in their life. Maybe that means taking on a different job, getting in a different relationship, working with their diet, nutrition, exercising more. That can look like a lot of different things. But if we just try to remove their pain without revealing to them that kind of deeper issue that the body is calling out for help with, I think we're actually doing them a disservice a lot of the time. Now let's talk about some examples of core desires. And once again, keep in mind, a lot of the times clients come to us and they aren't even really aware of their core desires. That's gotten kind of buried in their life. They're just kind of stuck in survival mode. They're trying to get through the day. They have this top of mind pain that they want you to make it go away, basically, right? But deeper core desires tend to look like this. I want to learn from my body. I'm ready to see clearly what it's teaching me with this symptom or pain. I want to open my heart and have a loving, fulfilling relationship. I want to be more spiritually connected with myself and others. I want to use this pain as an opportunity to become a stronger and wiser person. So once again, we have a lot of examples of what this can look like, right? Every human being has core desires. And these are the desires that are the most emotionally charged, the most significant, the most meaningful, and the most aligned with our purpose in life. But like I said, in our modern world, so many of us have lost touch with these desires. They've gotten buried by layers of conditioning, by behaviors and habits and addictions and routines. And so I really think that all of us in the alternative health professions are in a very unique and powerful position to help our clients on this core level. Now remember, this typically isn't taught in a very pragmatic or clear way as we go through our training programs. A lot of us have to go through years of kind of stumbling around in our practice trying to figure out what's missing. And for a lot of us, this actually is the missing piece, is we don't actually have a framework in place to help people with their core desires. And we find ourselves in this position of just dealing with surface desires and trying to remove pain, get people more comfortable, get them out the door. For a lot of us, like I said, that's a recipe for a lack of fulfillment, burnout, and poor client retention. Now, as you see in this, there's a common thread in those examples of core desires. They reflect personal accountability. So if a client isn't accountable to their situation and is looking to you to remove their suffering, they likely won't stick around and care very long. So whether they have some symptomatic improvement or not, they're probably going to be out of there within 3 or 4 or 5 sessions at the most. And that's very, very common, right? So while you're helping with their chief complaint, you're also broadening the scope of care by reinforcing their core desires and teaching them how you can help with these issues on a deeper level. And doing that in a way that is natural, that feels just like there's space and ease around that. And like I said, that tends to happen actually in the 5 to 10 week period of care. For most people, those first few weeks, they're going to have their defenses up, their facade is in place. They're going to tell you what they want you to know, what they think you should know for them to convey a favorable impression, kind of what they do out in regular society. So if you want them to dissolve some of their defenses and be more honest and vulnerable, that often happens in the 5 to 10 week period of care. And that's regardless of what sort of modality you have. If you want to help people with their core desires, just keep that in mind. That probably won't happen for most people within the first few weeks. We are so deeply conditioned to keep our armoring up and to not trust very quickly that they need repeated points of contact and exposure with you to get that feeling of safety in place to do that deeper work, okay? Now, this process should actually start before the client comes in for their first visit. This is a major takeaway in your marketing right now that I really want you to consider and how you want to set this up. I recommend sending all new clients to your website to download a free information product that educates them on how you help people and who an ideal client is for your work. Now, there's a fair amount that goes into setting this up. We call this your free lead magnet. It's what you use to educate people on the front end, to build your email list, to stay in touch with people, and to position yourself as a trusted expert. It's an integral component of successful marketing in 2015 and beyond. And quite frankly, from the websites that I review, and I've reviewed thousands at this point, only about 5 to 10% of the practices that I've started working with have this in place, and it's really a huge missing link in their marketing. So in fact, by the time a client comes in to see you for the first visit, they should have the following in place. They should have gone to your website to consume free information that positions you as a trusted authority who can help them on multiple levels. They should have gotten on your email list and received some helpful emails that reinforce the value you can offer them. And they should have liked your Facebook fan page and absorbed some of your infographics, your content snippets, quotes, and so on. So once they are on your email list and your fan page, then you can continue to educate them throughout the treatment process so they are getting multiple points of contact that reinforce the full spectrum of what you can offer them. So you can see why this is so powerful, because it creates a high level of intentionality in your marketing, where you're filtering out people that probably aren't a very good fit and that have absolutely zero interest in getting to their core desires, if your marketing is set up well, and you're more strongly attracting the ones who know that you have something more powerful to offer them than just removing their wrist pain or making their headache go away, right? Now, what I've discovered in my practice is that a very large percentage of modern humanity is in this kind of gray zone where, yes, they've kind of lost touch with their core desires, but there's something in them that is gnawing at them. They have this longing. There's a starvation for a deeper connection with themselves, a more spiritually charged life, more emotional awareness and mindfulness. And we're all in a very strong position to help on this level. And your marketing on the front end really wants to speak to that person's longing and get them to understand that you have the unique solutions that they're really looking for in their life. Yes, you can help them with their chief complaint, but you can also go so much deeper and help them on these kind of more core levels. So my question to you is, are you even aware of this full spectrum of care that you can offer? Can you easily articulate how you help your clients achieve their core desires in life? Are you connected with the full potential that your medicine or your modality has to offer? And I don't want you to just say yes and just kind of gloss this over and go on to the next screen here. I want you to really think about this, because I can tell you from my experience, both personally and having coached thousands of practitioners, most of us aren't. Most of us are not in contact with this. And if I go to your website right now, would I see clearly stated there how you can help me with both my surface desires and my core desires? Does the full potential of your modality shine through on your website? If I were to see you for 6 months to a year of care, is it really clear to me what the value of that is, what the full benefit of that is? So if you can't articulate that to yourself, of course, there's going to be a block there, and your client isn't going to feel motivated, or they won't even understand why they should invest in long-term care with you. So remember, this is a fundamentally different paradigm and philosophy than instilling fear or coercing clients into long-term care plans. This is the opposite of that, where we're deeply connected with the full potential of our medicine and our modality, and we want to offer that to as many people as we can, and we realize that for most of our clients, that's going to be a multi-week or perhaps a multi-month process. Like I said, most people have layers of defense and conditioning that is blocking them from a really core level of healing taking place. We're in a unique position to help them in that way. So this typically does not come through school. We have to learn this from both gifted mentors and real life experience. And a lot of the times we have to go through like the school of hard knocks to really get clear on what this full potential is that we have to offer. Because what it really comes down to is that our modality is one thing and our level of consciousness is another. And when we bring those two together, that's where the synergy, the real benefit comes into play for the client. So the full potential of your modality can only come to fruition if you're proactively leaning into higher levels of consciousness, developing your awareness, becoming more mindful. That will directly infuse the power, the potential of your medicine, of your craft, okay? So I hope that makes sense. And like I said, I don't expect everybody to be aligned with that or to resonate with that take on things. It's just that most of my clients, for a lot of them at least, this is an aha moment. This is something that they're like, this makes total sense in terms of what I've been missing in my work to this point. So are you currently building your email list and fan page of prospective and current clients? Do you have automated ways to stay in touch with everyone who expresses interest in your work? These are really, really important questions. And there's a quote here by Robert Kiyosaki, which I think is very powerful and very profound. The richest people in the world look for and build networks. Everyone else looks for work. So are you building your network right now? If you're not building a network around your business, it's always going to be a struggle. And that's a huge part of what I want to help you with in the upcoming 2015 Your Best Year Ever coaching program. It's getting all of this in place. Your front-end marketing, building your network, automating your systems, creating better client retention, more fulfillment, and putting this whole practice acceleration formula into full motion. So there's a lot more to cover on client retention. This is kind of giving you a taste, a big picture taste of my philosophy on this. Now in the 2015 Your Best Year Ever coaching program, there will be a 2-hour module that goes into great detail on everything we covered here, as well as some of the tactics and practical things you want to do. That includes laying out treatment plans, sharing the report of findings or the ROF with your clients, giving them new client welcome packets. What do you want to put in that? What is the point of that? How can you use that to really enhance referrals, get more referrals from other businesses? There's so many things you can do with that welcome packet that most practitioners never even think of. It's very, very powerful. And then critical juncture strategies. So these are places in treatment where the client tends to drop out of care. Oftentimes that's at the 5 treatment interval, and once again at the 10 treatment interval. What do you say to the client at that time? What sort of strategies do you employ to ensure that they stick around if you feel like they haven't fully tasted the potential of what you can offer them yet? So these are all really, really important systems, concepts, principles that I cover in this upcoming coaching program, and I think they're just vital to your success in 2015. So in the next video, I want to help you build your self-belief. Your mindset is an essential part of your success. And I know that you're probably in a place right now where you do doubt yourself sometimes. You wonder if you can pull this off. You wonder if you're going to be financially successful and have a sustainable business that fulfills you for years to come. And it's natural. If you don't know how to market the right way, if you don't have the right systems, that doubt is actually pretty legitimate. So we want to not only do the inner work of building self-belief, we want to get the outer mechanisms in place so that your confidence just naturally develops because you have the right process that you're taking clients through, the right front-end marketing, all right? So be sure to leave a comment below and let me know what insights you had during this video. Now keep in mind, this is just a taste of what I'm going to offer you in the upcoming program because this is a big subject and it's something that I don't want to just gloss over. I want to make sure you get very detailed, not only philosophy, but pragmatic steps to really boost your client retention and stabilize your business. So in the next video, once again, we're talking about getting you into a more empowered internal space. Really look forward to sharing that with you. Make sure you check back in a couple days. I'll be sharing an update on Facebook and to my email list when that video is ready. Otherwise, yeah, let me know below what your main takeaways have been. I really look forward to hearing from you, and I hope this video has definitely left you with some revelations about how you can really take your practice to the next level. All right, guys, thanks so much. It's Kevin Doherty. I'll talk to you soon.